Hey guys, welcome to The Identity Shift. Hey everybody, welcome back to Identity Shift, and I'm your girl Tia Upshaw, and we have with us today on our special segment is Peter Owusu. And Peter, thank you for coming. You know, I always like talking to you because we have the real down-to-earth conversations. Really excited to dive into this, talk about, financial literacy, FinLit, as people call it, and, how we can get the marginalized communities, the racialized communities, the black communities, all those communities up to where we need to be self-sufficient. So, Peter, if you wanted to let everybody know, the listeners and the viewers, tell us a little bit about who Peter is. What does Peter do?
Okay, thanks for having me up, T. It's always a good time
Thank
to chat.
you.
Who is Peter? He was born and raised in Toronto, just outside of Mississauga. And the current role I'm in right now is Regional Manager of Black Community Business Development for Atlantic Canada with TD. But who I am is just somebody who cares about community and giving back.
That's true.
Like, that's kind of me at my core. Is I'm a helper. I just want to help make people's lives easier, however I can. I tell people all the time, like, it can be anything. Like, do you need a place to stay? Do you need?
Oh, that's nice, yeah. Oh, geez.
It's just any way. I've just been raised like that, and I try to carry it with me. It's any way I can help somebody, as long as I can do it right, and it's not taking too much away from me, because you still gotta set some boundaries, right? But as long as it's not, I'm trying to do anything for anybody, and that's kind of why I love FinLit, because I was fortunate. I always say my dad, he has an MBA. He did it from Schulich, one of the best schools. Yeah, and he did it in conjunction with his master's in agriculture.
Okay, when was this?
Oh my God, like he came in like the 70s. My dad's 65.
Damn, he did two of them at the same time?
He did two masters, and he did them, and he did the first in Winnipeg. He did the agriculture one in Winnipeg, and then started the York one kind of simultaneously. And he did it because he came to Canada, he got this education to help his family run their farm back home, right? We're from Ghana, West Africa. So his family, we had mango farms, pineapple farms, and all that. And it's,
that sounds so good.
It's so good. He used to bring them, because he used to go every year, and he used to bring them back, and can't get it like they do.
No, you can't.
You can't.
I don't care if they import it. That's not the same. It's like they do something to it.
It's not the same, but he's the reason why, right? Like, my dad used to teach me so much and talk to me about all these things with financial literacy. Like, I remember talking about the TFSA before I even turned 18.
I believe it.
Right? Like, it's all these different things, and I recognize that I'm blessed and fortunate that my dad gave me that. It's not me, you know what I mean? Like, it's luck, I kind of say. I did the hard work to
get to where you're at, but your dad implemented that knowledge and that information into your brain young, so that to you that was normal to do.
Exactly. So how can I not try and spread that to other people? Because I understand that that's not in every household. So if I can talk to some people, right, like, and try and impart some of the wisdom that I got onto somebody else, because I know I was blessed and fortunate. The advice my dad gave me allowed me to buy my first home when I was 25.
That's like insane.
All right, and
I was just getting out of bad credit at 30, 35. Like, that's insane.
And that's what we're trying to accomplish. Is like, it shouldn't be insane, and that's my goal. Is like, that should be like that should be the normal. That should be the norm, right? It should be all these people understand how to leverage a TFSA, how to leverage an RSP, all these different vehicles for investing to build your wealth, because it's there, and it's there for us, but we don't know because it isn't in our home. So when somebody has it in their home, they've got to share that. They've got to help bring people on. You got to. So that's kind of Peter. I got my dog, of course. We were talking about my dog before.
Was it Barry?
Yeah, Barry. So I call him Barry Bear. He's just like a little Havanese. He's like 9.5 pounds. He's fully grown. And it's just me and my boy out in Eastern Passage.
I didn't know you lived in Eastern Passage.
Yeah. So
Missy's out there too.
Is she?
And Unique. Missy, Unique, and Tanya Pierce. They're all over Eastern Passage.
I didn't know Missy's out there.
Missy's been there 29 years.
We're talking anyways about something.
Good. Yeah, she's right out there. That's her stomping ground. And she's been there for a long time. Raised her boys out there and everything.
I'm really gonna hit her as soon as we're done.
I didn't know you were Eastern. What made you go to Eastern Passage?
Literally, I wanted to live I had two kind of choices. I wanted to be outside the city, so I was looking at Timberley and Eastern Passage. Because
Eastern Passage would have been a better choice for me.
A little bit too more expensive, and I wanted like an East Coast, like I was born and raised in Toronto, right? So I want
you want to feel the smell, the water. You want it to be.
Exactly.
I know what you meant. Yeah,
I want it to be.
It's a little fisherman. It's like a little fisherman's area, like the little huts and stuff along the water.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, so I'm like 10 minutes, like a 10-minute walk from the water, and like that's exactly what I wanted.
Oh, Barry would have loved that.
Oh my goodness! So I take them out on walks twice a day. We go in the morning, we go in the evening, we go and play by like the school and stuff. Like that.
Wow!
Yeah, it's a nice spot.
Oh yeah, reach out to Missy and say, "Tia told me you Eastern Passage. You guys can even have a lunch date out there."
I'm not gonna hit her as soon as we're done. I have no clue. Okay.
Oh my God, small world.
Yeah.
What you said to me earlier resonated with regards to how blessed you were for your father to educate you on these things, and I bet your mother feels the same way. You have siblings too, right?
Yeah, I got 2 sisters.
Guarantee they say the same thing, because in our Black communities, and I'm going to speak about African Nova Scotian communities, it's very seldom you hear these type of conversations. Maybe now, and it's still very seldom, but in the 80s, like I was born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, that was not even, credit scores was not even a conversation. So, I wish that I would have known more before I went into my adulthood and, started getting credit cards at the age of 18 because they were sending me the pre-approvals.
And that's it.
And getting phones from TELUS and at 18 and not, it just didn't, and then it just leads to bad habits.
Because they're not. None of these things, and it's so important, none of these things are inherently bad. Right? Like, credit cards are a good thing.
Yeah.
They earn you points. Like, if you can use a credit card responsibly.
I only have 2 now. I have 2 credit cards. That's all I need. One's emergency, and the other one I just use it to build my credit.
And that's literally, if
that's
people can take one thing too on credit cards, have one small one. That's like, it's there if you need to spend online or something like that.
Yeah,
so
like I literally,
your real credit card.
Literally, I just use it. One's emergency. And the other one is literally just to use little small things and then pay it when I'm supposed to pay it, and actually not when the date says pay it, whatever. So I have a trick to it, and I just use it to build my credit. But I guess you have to learn that once you go through having a 300 credit score, and you can't get shit in your name, like, and you were able to bounce back, and now I'm at like 785 or something like that. It took like 9 years.
And that's what we're trying to avoid, is telling people and having these conversations so they don't get into that, because that's huge. Like, that's a huge chunk of time.
That's a decade
for a mistake.
For multiple mistakes, and then I don't like to say this, but I'm going to keep it 100% real, because people, my listeners, will say he always keeps it real. Is that sometimes even before you even have something in your name, your parents have it in your name. That's what happens here too. So I had it was back in the day called MT&T phone bills in my name, and I wasn't even able to have a phone. So I mean, it happens, and it's unfortunate, but I'm glad that individuals like yourself understand the importance of nurturing the mind with this information, going through the business, bringing it through, the work you do, and then coming on the other end for community.
Have to.
Because if you didn't have that importance, if your father didn't instill that in you, you wouldn't understand the importance of it, and you would just do your job with TV, and you wouldn't care about us over here.
And bringing folks along. It's
absolutely.
But and I have to say, I got to give you your flowers too, right? Like, when I showed up here a couple of years ago, me and you met, we got connected. I don't even remember how.
I don't know how. I think it was at an event, maybe.
I was going around and trying to meet people, and I don't know who would have introduced us, but you took me on quick and easy.
I was like, oh yeah, he seems like a good guy. Let's meet him and see what's going on.
And we had lunch, right? We had lunch.
It was Open Bears Lake.
Yes, yeah. And then from then on, you've been a person for me, right?
Oh, well, thank you.
And and that's another thing I learned from my family, is like, I really appreciate the people in my lives who taking care and taking the time to take care of me. So I have to do the same for other folks, because you guys are doing it for me.
And it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels crazily good. I can read people really quickly, Peter, so I knew when you reached out to me it wasn't like a banking thing. It was more of a community impact thing. And then after I met you and had lunch with you, I was like, oh yeah, he's really about changing the mind frame, changing the stigma. He wants to make change, and it's not about him trying to bring a new client to TD. Like, it was really different. And I mean, I wouldn't have mind a new client to TD, because I get banks all the time take me out and then say, can you bring your organization's account to us? That's normal. That's how they do it. That's how it goes. But with you, it was like, I want to make a change. I want to do something different. What can I do? How can I get involved? Okay, I can tell you how you can get involved. So, I mean, flowers to you too, because you've always showed up for BWIE. Even just last night, we had you on a miniature pitch competition, and you know, you didn't have to do that in the evening. You could have said I'm off clock. You showed up. So for us, we're grateful too, and you know, I can't wait to see what happens. I will say in the next 5 years, Peter, with our community on the financial literacy piece. Like, I really want people to be up to par of knowing all the terminology, being able to invest, reinvest, being able to pull equity, and just do and live and have that generational wealth that we all can attain.
Take advantage of these things, right? People, other groups have been taking
Oh my
advantage
God.
of this forever. So why can't we can take advantage of this too? So
I just had this conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and I said, there's a book, and I can't remember the book, it's on Amazon, and it was about Jewish individuals and how they build wealth. And then there was another chapter on Chinese and how they do it, and how they did it even in Canada. I have to look for it in hopefully by the time this podcast episode airs, I can put a link there, because it literally basically says that, you know, we realized coming to Canada as, you know, Chinese people, that the government wasn't giving us jobs. So what we had to do, we had to create our own, for our own, and they just kept doing it, and the biggest amount of money in acquisition, I think it was their real estate in Toronto. They own, they run, like, the real estate, that's them.
Yeah.
And they dominated that in the 90s. And since then, it's been, that's who gets to make the calls. That's who's running up the prices. But they did it because they couldn't get jobs. They didn't speak the English language, and all they could do is be cab drivers, and they didn't want to do that. So why can't we get to that point to say, we're not given these things, let's create. Let's create and build generational wealth.
We pull each other, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
We have to pull each other along. I think that's why I always say, like, we gotta work together. The people who are, it's like you did with me, it's the people who have done something. You can't just do something. You talk about it all the time. You can't just do something and then kind of chill at the top and chill and do your own thing. You have to pull somebody else
along with you.
You have to. Like, you've got to.
It's like a domino effect. It literally, if you do one, then that person will bring somebody along and educate. I had a guest on last week, and I was informing her of a new business model that I just become aware of through doing a consultation with the gentleman where I want to take the organization. And it's legally done. People do it all the time. White businesses and white organizations do it a lot. I never heard of it. So anyways, I was telling her about it, and I said I'm going to contract him in to work with me for the next couple of months on getting this all put together to build this model where there's going to be several entities that are coming from one and blah, blah, blah. And I said, once I'm done, I paid for it, but I'm going to educate you on it because you have a non-for-profit. I know where you want to take your non-for-profit. And she was like, girl, you really just be looking out. I said, absolutely. So once I'm done with him, I get all of my ducks in a row and all the paperwork and all, you know, materials, I'm going to slide it over to you for free. And the only thing I ask is that you pass it on to another black woman. That's all I ask.
That's what it's about.
So she was like, real talk, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, no worries.
That's what it's about. If you get that help, you've got to give it back, right? You've got to. It feels good. You've got to give it back.
I mean, there's enough. My thing is, and I mean, it was going to be part of my next question. We may just jump into it. My thing is that there's enough for all of us. It doesn't matter what culture, what color, what gender. There is enough money for all of us to be able to win. And even if we're in the same industry, Peter, and you are getting clients, me getting clients is not going to stop you from getting clients, even though we're in the same industry. And I think the mentality for us in Canada as black individuals, either from the African diaspora, Caribbean, or African Canadian, is that we need to build together and leverage on top of one another, because that's going to be the way we're going to be able to change the dynamic. And we're far behind now.
It's one pie, like it's not, and that's what I was saying. It's like it's not one pie, like it's not like it's just one thing that it's gonna run out. It's like you said, like
it's there. It's there. It's
enough.
there.
We can all take from it. Like we can all win. We can all eat.
I try to talk about it often. I know you probably see it too when you're working in the communities, you know, with financial literacy. It could be the mind frame too, like the way people think, like, oh, I don't need to know that, or Like, I mean, I guess it brings me to my question to you. What are some of the, barriers that you face with getting your information and education across in the marginalized communities? What can we do to make your job easier?
You bring the people,
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring the content in myself. That's what I like. My job is a very busy. So I'm regional manager, right, for Atlantic Canada.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of
That's
communicating with
way
people.
a lot, yeah.
All over the spot. Like I was in Newfoundland a couple of weeks back.
Ooh, I like Newfoundland.
Oh my God! I've never first time.
I went last year for the first time too for a conference. I was like,
Yep.
I like this little place.
It's way nicer than you think, eh? People think you have an idea of what Newfoundland is.
I
when you
had
get
it
there.
as like shipperies.
Yeah, like
did
tiny
you
little place.
did you get what's the word when we kiss the fish?
Screeched in?
Screeched
Yeah,
in?
yeah, I did.
I
Yeah,
couldn't do
yeah.
it.
I did. We did for a part. Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't do it. I was
You
like,
didn't do it?
yeah.
Did you see what the cod looks like?
Yes.
Too? I thought it looked like I thought it was gonna look like
Like a
fish
fillet or
on
something.
on a wall.
No.
like a funny like a joke fish.
It wasn't. It was
It's an ugly cod, like
the face, the
silver
thing.
and
It's nasty.
They take it out of a garbage bag. So I did kiss the cod. I took the shot of Screech. It's Jamaican rum.
I couldn't do it.
It's Jamaican rum, and then ate the fried bologna, and I was like,
I do like fried bologna with mustard though. So.
okay, yeah, yeah,
I do
part
eat
of
that.
And then but no drinking, no drink. But
No.
they'll give you like a syrup, because one of the guys we did it with, he doesn't drink, and they give you like a pure syrup
Really?
thing that you can do if you don't drink, so you can still do it.
Oh, I'm
But
so
you gotta
glad.
kiss
I'm
the
glad
fish.
that you did it. I'm glad that you did it. But I enjoyed. I was there for 3 days, and I absolutely walked around. I absolutely
Mhm.
enjoyed Newfoundland. And I've seen a lot of black people that I didn't even think
Yeah.
existed. And I had said to myself, "Girl, why are you thinking this way?" That's the same way people think about Nova Scotia. There's no black people.
Exactly.
So why was I going to Newfoundland thinking there's no? There are.
There's so many.
I'm like,
There's
what the
so
hell? Where are
many.
you at? Like,
That's what I have no concept. No
Mhm.
concept. Yeah. But the biggest thing that people can do to help me get more financial
Yeah.
literacy out is if you can organize the people, we can organize the content and get out and deliver it. It's real tough for me to kind of take on the full organizing of it because everybody wants us to do financial literacy, you know what I mean? So it'd be hard for me to kind of organize each financial literacy
that's
event
true.
and bring the people because I do it so often. So if folks can say, hey Peter, we want to do financial literacy, can you come out to this spot, let us know what days work for you, we can bring the
Yeah.
audience. I'll do one a day for the rest of my life. Like that's easy. Like I'll do that any day, anytime. It slows me down when I have to plan out the full session.
and then find out where I'm going, who I'm doing it
Exactly.
with. Well, that's a good thing to know. For any of the listeners, like if you have, the opportunity to build an initiative or a project, you want to bring Finland into it, it's much easier for you to roll into it that way.
And it's free, right? I really want to make sure that
Wow.
people are always offering. They're like, do you want an honorarium? No, I don't want it. I'm telling you right now.
I don't want it.
I don't want
I
it.
just want to educate
Yes.
and get everybody. For me, if I'm in your shoes and I would be doing something like this when it comes to financial literacy or anything really, is there any frustrations with like not knowing the impact or the measured impact or a follow up? Like, do you ever sit back and think like, I wonder if they're taking my advice or they're doing anything or they didn't follow up with me or does that discourage you sometimes as being a facilitator, Peter?
You know what? No, because I've gotten really. So I always, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I always share my number when I'm.
Which is crazy because I'm like, do not put your number out there. And he's like, nope, it's okay.
I always share my number at these things. I'm gonna make sure you guys have my contact at the end. Like I really make myself accessible. So
You do.
every Finlit session, I'll get like random text 2 days later. It's like, hey, my mom was at your Finlit session. She said if I reached out, you would tell me about how to invest. I'm like, sure, give me a call. So I've always
That's
seen that.
insane.
Always,
Like,
it's somebody, and it's always like somebody who's not there. It's like, oh, I heard about that you did this from this person who was there. It was really good, or like it resonated. So I always get a couple now that I've been making accessible. But that's what I give my person because I'm like, this doesn't have to be.
no, it doesn't have to be.
This formal,
Yeah, it doesn't.
tight. Like look at me, I'm wearing Lady D shoes, man. I got my J's on.
I mean,
I got my
they're
outfit
clean.
right.
Like, you're good.
Yeah, like I'm out here. Like it doesn't have to be a formal. I'm not this tight banker. You can just text me and ask me a question and hit me up. You can call
Yeah.
me, and I'm more than happy.
And we love that. We love that we see you. We know your credentials. We know your accolades. We know what you bring to the table. But you look like one of us.
Mhm.
Like, literally. You don't have to change how you present yourself to show us that you are who you are.
It was important to me, and it's something I tried to drive at the bank when I joined. Before I stepped into this role, I remember saying, like, we have to go into community. Like, that's how we're going to make an impact. And it's through discussions I had with you and some other folks, and I was like, we can't be the stuffy bankers. That's
You
the
ain't gonna
bank
blend.
is
It ain't gonna
already
happen.
the bank's already, it's this big institution or
Mhm.
anything like that. Like, we have to come into community and meet people where people are. Like,
That's
it
facts,
doesn't
Peter.
have to be this big stuffy
Oh my God.
production. Let's just talk to people the way we naturally are. So
And look the way you naturally are. I
Mhm.
mean, it's good to dress up, read a room, stuff like that. But like in general, if that's like me going to say a junior high to speak today,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna wear heels in this dress.
Mhm.
I'm probably gonna wear my dunks and a pair of jeans or leggings and probably a crop top with a blazer. You have to know your space you're going into, because the minute you lose that audience, oh Jesus, you may as well pack up that thin lit package and leave because you lost them.
Because I think of it all the time. I'm like, I remember when I was a kid growing up, and I was like, if some banker showed up to me and spoke to me in a suit and was like, hey, we're here to talk about financial
You're like,
literacy.
huh?
I'd be like, I have like,
You lost me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm blank right out. I'm blank right out.
I have no care. But if somebody came and was like, oh, what's going on, man? Like, have you ever thought about financial literacy? I'd be like, oh, you know what? I haven't. Like, but what's going on? And then you have that conversation.
It's the wording
way
too.
different.
Yeah, very different. The youth that reached out to you, that's going to bring me into my next topic. If somebody, young or old, because you can invest at any point, you don't have to wait. You don't got to say, I should have done it when I was 18. I'm already 60. I'm done doing it. If anybody is looking at getting into that, what would the first few steps be that you would tell them, what you would recommend and suggest that they start with?
Do your research. And personal research, like with people, and also like real research. Read a
Mhm.
book or something. Like read something. I did finance as my undergrad, so that's kind of my wheelhouse. But read something, because obviously anecdotal evidence is big in community, but that's the way to get people to trip up. When someone says, "Oh, I invested in this and I doubled my money."
Literally, this is what I'm hearing, and especially in our community, the Bitcoin too. Like, a lot of people are talking about the Bitcoin, and it sounds so attractive. I shouldn't say I haven't invested. I invest in myself and my community, but to take money and invest in something, I haven't done it yet at 44, only because I haven't found the right space for that. I would rather invest into someone's business. I shouldn't say I didn't invest. My daughter, my youngest daughter, I actually invested in her lash line when she was 13. I started for her. 10,000 here, I did it all done, and I made that back within 2 years. But do traditional investing, I haven't, and I mean that's part of what you said, research. I haven't really researched it, and I don't know. I know my fiance is interested in it. He sends me stuff all the time. He's like, look into this. And babe, if you're listening, sorry, love you to pieces. But we really should.
Mm-hmm.
We do have, play money that we could. And it doesn't take, $3,000 to invest in something. It could be $300. And like,
$3.
I know, Peter, like you guys are killing me. So he's been on me about it. And I think after this conversation with you, is something I really should look at. What is usually the average age that someone would start investing that you see?
It's way higher than people think. Way higher. Like, unless you are in it, right? Like, unless you're like me and you're a banker, or like you kind of seen it, it's not until people are like in their 40s.
Really?
Yeah, like their late 30s or 40s is when I see
I would have
people.
thought you would have said the 20, 25-ish. No?
No. Unless you're in it, many 20, 25-year-olds are not thinking about investing, right? They're thinking about rent, and they're thinking about all sorts of other things, and getting that, and who knows what, right? It's expensive to live nowadays. Like, they're thinking of all these things. So I found, at least in my experience the last couple of years, the folks who are interested in investing, it's those folks who have a bit more disposable income, and they don't need to. It's like we said with the $3 thing. So when I learned to invest, again, shout out my dad, he made me open up an RSP the day I turned 18. RSP TFSA. He said, I'm born December 23rd. And he said, go to the bank. He said,
Oh my
go
God.
open it. And I was like, bro, I don't want it. And he's like, go and open this stuff. So I did. I opened it up, like basically like on my birthday. And
shout out to Dad.
I remember, I was like, bro, I don't make no money. I was like, I'm going to school. Like, I don't make any money.
Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and he was like, he's like, Pete, put $5 in. He's like, put $5 in like a month even. But he's like, get into the habit of saving. He's like, get into the habit of saving. And then if you get a little bit, we can play around with it then, and then it kind of grows. And for a while, that's all I did. I was like, fine, you know what, I can do that. I was like, I'll put $5 in.
Wow.
And you can bug off. And eventually I had like a couple $100 because sometimes I put a little bit more in. And then we did a little bit of investing.
Playing around.
And then from there, it kind of piques an interest. I was in school for it too, but I always say to people, it's the habit of it, right? Like the dollars will change when your circumstances change, but the habit of saving, the habit of kind of playing around with the investment, like the habit of putting money into something, that's the habits that you want to start building so that when the money grows, you're used to it, right? So that's how I ended up finding my spot, because I was used to putting $5 in, and then I became a financial operations analyst, and I made a little bit more, so I put a little bit more.
Insane.
Commercial banker, I made a little bit more, so more. My new job, so like I had the habit, I kept doing it because my dad made me when I was 18. Said you have
$5. This all started from $5.
Now I gotta have some passage for that. Yeah.
$5.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good.
You know what's so funny is that, and I'm the blame too. I would say this. I'm at fault because investing is a risk, but so is starting a business. And we're quick to start businesses, but why haven't we been prepared to invest? Like, you think, like,
I never thought of that. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm going to say that when I talk to entrepreneurs.
Like, why? Why? Like, and I am at fault of that. Like, you know, I started 4 businesses in the last 10 years and an organization. That was all risky.
It's way harder than just doing some investing that'll set you up. Oh, wow. Yes,
come on, Tia, get it together, girl.
I never thought of it that way. T, you got to.
I know.
Even if you do, like I said, even if you know what, dip your toes in and do a little bit.
Something to see how it is. I'll book a call with you on a different note just to talk to you about investing, because my fiance would be so proud of me right now. He'd be like, finally, she gets it. Finally, she gets it. Since I brought up the entrepreneurship, you know, I always ask these questions to people like you who are in these positions of literally giving advice. If an entrepreneur said they were, you know, starting a business and they were ready to open up shop, what would you really have the conversation? What would you say to them?
Do you have your team in place?
Mm-hmm.
And not your sales team, like not the people who are going to work in the store.
Okay, keep going, because I just had this conversation with Stephanie Bolahan, and I said if I could do this over again, my team would not be staff. It would. That's not my team. My team would be my business advisor, my banker, and my accountant, and a lawyer. Exactly. Literally. Exactly.
Get your team in order, and not your staff. It's your team. It's all the ones you hit. Make sure you're the banker. Make sure you have an accountant, a bookkeeper. Make sure you got a lawyer, and you don't have to be people that are like on your payroll.
No.
It's just people that are in your corner that you can talk to and build your relationships with. Like that's what you want to have. Those 3 are key because there's so many pitfalls in entrepreneurship, incorporating versus sole prop. Oh my goodness!
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because you know we get this. And I get it from different people. Oh, don't go incorporated because the tax end is like doing the tax end of everything is harder and it's not very, you know, beneficial for the entrepreneur. Stay sole proprietor or partnership. Then I have some people say no, go incorporated. Like, I mean, I always tell people you have to do what you need to do. What feels good for you. I would incorporate with my cleaning company because it was high risk and I needed to be separate from me. That's the only reason I did it, because I was like, you can't come after what if I have a cleaner that breaks something in the house or burns the house down, I don't want you suing me and taking everything from me personally. I just want you to go after the assets the cleaning company had. Nothing like that ever happened. But I've heard a lot of, people say don't do incorporated. How do you feel about that, Peter?
It's exactly like you said. It has to be based on the individual. What you're looking for, what your business is, and that's why you need a lawyer who can explain to you the differences. Like you said, I am not a lawyer, but when you are a sole prop, right,
everything falls on
you. That business, and you are connected. People can come after you if something goes on in your business. You're incorporated, it is its own entity, it's its own thing. People can't come out. So, like, talk to a lawyer about these things, right? Because it's too big of a question to say.
It's huge. I hate when people bring it up to me. I'm like, people, I don't know.
You don't know because you can't. It's like, unless I knew your specific situation and your goals, like, that's a whole.
And no one's going to give all that in the first conversation.
This is a whole, like, multiple hours and thoughts and discussion, conversation of which one you should be. So that's why I say, again, it's great to talk to folks in community and folks you know, but talk to the experts.
Get your team.
Talk to your team, because it's so easy to get misinformation nowadays too, because we have Google.
Oh my God, we have all of them, and I hate any information. You know, what's so funny is because someone in one of my programs was like, "Oh, I registered my business as an LLC," and I was like, "We don't have LLCs in Nova Scotia, so what do you mean?" And they were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, what do you mean?" Like, it was the terminology she was using was based on Google.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
And I was like, you are so far from where you're supposed to be.
But you don't know, and then because you think you're learning about it, oftentimes then people can kind of not listen because you think because you're learning, right? And it's like these things make sense. So, like, talk to experts. I always say, I remember talking to my mom about it because she's talking to me about investing. And
not the whole family. Jeez.
My mom was asking me about investing, and she was like, "Oh, Kwabena, like, what do you think?" So I'm Kwabena too. I'm from Ghana, like, originally from Ghana. Being boy born on Tuesday. So my mom's like, "Kwabena, like, what do you think?" And she's talking to me about investing. I was like, "Oh, mom, you know this." And she's like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Mom," I was like, "I did 4 years of a finance degree, and while I was doing that, I was a banker, and then I continued in banking, and now I've been in banking for like." I've been doing banking now for, no exaggeration, like a third of my life.
Jeez, Peter.
It's weird. Yeah, I'm just putting it together. Like,
so you just came out of school and right in?
Yeah. Like, I started banking. I started at TV when I was literally as soon as I could. I think I just turned 19 like a month before I started.
Jeez.
And I've been there since, and I'm 26 now, so that's 7 years.
Peter, like...
Yeah, so I've been doing it since I've been like...
You know how crazy that's...
So, like... I was like, Mom, like, I was like, this is what I do. Like, this is literally what I do. So, like, you've got to trust. So people, listen to the experts. Like, talk to them. They know what they're talking about.
Absolutely,
right?
they do.
They've done the studies. They've seen I've seen people invest in it go well. I've seen people invest in it, it's gone bad. I've invested in it, it's gone well. I've invested in it, it's gone bad.
It's a risk.
It's what it is, right? So talk to these people who have been through it and kind of understand it from a real life perspective.
I like your family. A whole bunch of people open to investing, and that's very, very important. And I feel so bad because I should have. It's never too late, obviously, but things like that. Not only do I want to look at, I'm going to actually start having these conversations with my children because they're 28, 26, and 17. Mm-hmm. It's a good time, especially for my son, like to start talking with us. If you have any play money, invest it. A couple of dollars. Too. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Your number's going to be. Oh, they're going to be texting. My youngest, she right now she's too young to invest, but not too young to know about it. Mm-hmm. So I want her to know about it. So when she's ready, she can just dive all the way in. Mm-hmm. And not be scared of it, not be like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this.
Exactly.
Like, just do it.
Telling you, started with the same thing. She's 17, 18, TFSA, RSP,
and just tell her, go do it.
$5, $10, but start that habit.
What's your father's name?
Martin. So
Martin. Thank you, Martin.
Joe, but he's Martin.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you. We're going to have that Martin mentality in the household for my last one, at least. It's beneficial, honestly, because look where you're at now. One thing that I was thinking about in the last probably year with regards to financial literacy, because it all stems back, Peter, from entrepreneurship to either being a leader, to be working in corporate, to wherever it is, you need to understand that financial literacy piece or you won't be able to grow any direction. It all comes back to financial literacy. And I was like, how come no one has started any type of mentorship around that? Like, where's the bankers? Where are the business advisors? You know, I know through my organization, we bring on people all the time to do mentorship. And I mean, it's not under just financial literacy, it's under the entrepreneurship hub, like the knowledge of it. But I would like to see some of the, you know, communities start some type of mentorship initiative around, you know, investing or doing a pilot project or something. How do you feel about that? Like, did you ever thought of that?
And this is an interesting thing actually. It's happening, but it's so sparse.
It is sparse, yes.
Like
it was like last year there was a pilot project, I know, Black Culture Center, I think it was, or the year before.
I think.
There was something.
Something around.
So there's...
Because you hear of them, and like little pockets of people will reach out to you sometimes and be like, hey, like, could you be a mentor for this?
Yeah.
And can you talk to this person? I'll be, oh, sure, right? So it's like, organizations are kind of doing it kind of like you do. It's like they might have like a program but it's not its own. I haven't seen anything that it's its own thing where it's like, this is what we do mentorship. I haven't seen it, and I'd love, again, because bankers, like, we like talking about this. Why we went into banking? Like,
yeah, that's your guys' jam.
This is my stuff. So like, we like a lot of people. Like, same with lawyers. Like, you gotta like to be a lawyer.
Yes,
you need to go through law school. So like, right. So talk to these. Like, we have to find a way to put this together, because the people want to talk. Like the professionals are more than happy to give.
Oh, they do. But they need the guidance to come in. They just can't come to you and say, oh, we want to do this. And I always think about, like I said, I've been thinking about over a year with some type of a pilot program where we're talking about not just, you know, financial literacy, but like, you know, the investing and what type of investments, the cost of investing, building your portfolio, like a whole, like, probably 6-week run on it to see where it goes. And I just haven't seen it done yet. And I was like, I wonder how. I mean, it would be hard to get, like you said, professionals want to come in. So it wouldn't be hard to have, like, you know, a lawyer, you know, an advisor, a banker to come in and work with the youth. Now, I always say youth because they are our future. Like, I know it sounds kind of weird, but it is facts. And I mean, individuals like myself, like Black women, marginalized women, like all that, because we're the core of our communities, women. And I would like to see something like that done. So, I mean, I don't have the capacity to take it on, my God. But I would like to see it. So whoever's listening, if that's something you guys would like to do, I wouldn't mind partnering with them. But putting it together, but I would like to see it done.
And that's exactly the sentiment, right? Is community organization, people out of community, you are in a really, like, you're in a good spot because there's so much resources. You just gotta bring them together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to come up with content. You don't have to come up with anything. A lot of these people will do it for free because it's helping out the youth. Like, all you have to do is just get your list of people you want to
invite. Keep the people in the space, and we show up.
And we show up and take care of business. So, like, it's too hard for us to plan these things because there's so many people who want it. If we planned, it would be impossible. So community organizations, if you can step up a little bit and help us out and organize some of these things, I promise you we will show up. Promise.
You do. I will credit you that. I say that often about Peter at TD. Like, he shows up. There's never been a time that actually one time I think your grandfather passed last year. Yeah. So it was a couple of years. It was one of the pitch competitions. Yeah. So I mean, other than that, Peter has never not showed up for BWIE. Then we have Layla at Scotiabank, same thing.
Love Layla.
Like, there's so many people. Carla and Thomas at I Know Credit Union. I love that BWIE has those important people to call on when we need to do a program or we need you to guest speak, like Stephanie Bolahan, CPA accountant, and she's an accountant. I will tell you, you know, yeah, I'm an accountant, but I work for you. I don't work for anybody else. And she keeps it 100. There's so many people. I mean, I let's see what happens. I don't know. Something
out there.
You never know. I may just do maybe a weekend seminar on that. Like, you know, if you're
fun.
Yeah, just a weekend something just to see, because it could be. I know Megan Simons. Yeah, Megan Simons. Halifax. That's something she would definitely do, because she's always about leveraging herself up and building a portfolio and stuff like that. So there's women out there that have mentioned investing, and Tia, how do I get into this? I'm like, girl, I don't even invest. I can't even tell you. I know how to start a business. I know how to scale a business. I know how to pass a business on. But, you know, something like that. Okay, leave with me, Peter. We'll see what happens. Peter, do you have any, you know, last comments that you want to put up for community or for our listeners? If they're an entrepreneur, if they're looking to get in investing, doesn't matter who they are. Anything you want to say to them?
Reach out to your boy.
There goes the number again.
I was about to say.
Oh my God!
I don't even know my work phone number because I don't use it. This is my. I'm not.
You have a work phone number?
Yeah, I have a work phone number. Yeah, I have a work cell. Like I have 2 cell phones sitting.
I have never ever seen that number come out anywhere. I know the 416 one.
That's my work. That's my cell. Yeah, that's my personal cell.
I thought it was your work number.
Oh, I have a work number. It's like a 902. It's like 902-717.
Okay, go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
So reach out to your boy if you need anything. Right? Like, if you want to discuss something that you heard today, if you want to run some ideas, if you want to just kind of have a conversation about finances, if you need support starting your business, if you need a connection at the bank, you want to make sure you feel safe and seen and heard at the bank, so you need somebody you know is good, like, reach out to your boy. My email is peter.owusu@tv.com. So spell it. It's Peter. Peter.owusu@tv.com. And then my cell number is 416-931-9159. And again, that's 416-931-9159. You can text me, because that's just my cell. So you can text me, you can call me. I'm pretty chill. And yeah, it's really easy because it's 902s all the time. So it's good because I know, because I'm not from here, right? I'm from Toronto. So it's like when I get calls from back home, I know it's like back home. And then if I get a 902, I'm like, oh, it's somebody.
It's someone here.
Somebody here, or somebody needs something, so I'm always picking it up. So if you need anything, you just hit me up. I'm super easy to get in touch with. We can grab a coffee and talk. We can talk on the phone.
Oh, Peter. And he's good, you guys. I will say that. Like, I've never reached out and never got a response. Even if it was a short response, like, hey, T, can I get back to you shortly or something? So, and I'm pretty sure if I asked anybody else when they had interaction with you, it's the same thing.
I know.
Like, literally. And I always be sending people to Peter. I know, Peter, you must see emails come from me with just your email tagged in it. And you're like, well, what the hell is this email? Where's the content?
There's like 5 people. There's like something in it. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. And I scroll down. I'm like, okay, this is. Okay,
yeah, I'm just like, because I'm like, oh, Peter, go to Peter. Oh, go to Peter. Go to Peter. And I do that with a lot of people. And sometimes I don't have time to give the content part. Like, I just got to tag your email in it, so they can reach out to you.
But I'll step it up. Yeah, exactly.
You do.
If I see that, I'll step it up.
You're like, nice to meet you, so and so, blah, blah, blah. How can I help you? And I'm like, okay, thank you, Peter. You got what I was doing.
Yeah,
you got what I was doing. Like, literally.
So, yeah, if anybody needs anything, one more time, 416-931-9159. You just shoot me a text. You can call me, FaceTime me. I don't care. You can just hit me up. I'm more than happy to talk about anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Peter, it was great having you on. I always like talking money. I always like talking anything black with you because you keep it real. And you guys, this number will be listed in the podcast at the top of the screen. It will be up there. But I just want to say, if you enjoyed this episode, there's going to be many more just like this. And I am here to educate and inspire and empower all individuals who are going to be tuning in. So make sure you subscribe to our website, subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe to our Spotify, and tune in every single Friday, at 12 p.m. And, until then, thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Identity Shift. See everybody next week.